Goblin Chieftain. That's what it's called, right? The one that makes all goblins cost one less?
War Chief.
War Chief. Goblin War Chief. I don't know why I blanked on that. But Goblin War Chief, and it was the haste that always got people. The minus one cost was obviously very good too, but the haste is really what allowed for the quick starts. So for those of you just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey, joined here by Big Head Joe.
Hello.
And this is the finals of the Star City Games Open Series here in Dallas-Fort Worth of the standard portion. Both players have played through a lot of Swiss, 9 rounds of Swiss, played through 2 rounds of top 8, and here we are in the finals. On your left, a man who needs a little introduction, Gerry Thompson. Top 8 last week with blue, white, black Cobblade. Made some changes, cut the day adjustments, added in tumble magnets. Here he is today in the finals of the tournament. He's looking for a victory. He really, really, really wants to take this one down, and he's got a good mindset. He feels good about this event. We'll see what happens. On the right, Kyle Kilhefner playing Goblins. Mono red Goblins. Burn spells and Goblins. That's all you need. Burn them. Play some quick Goblins. He has Goblin Chieftain for some tribal synergies. Goblin War Driver to pump up his creatures. I think it's going to be a really interesting match. Gerry said that he really feels like this one is close. It really depends on how the draws go. So
yeah, I mean, he can have. Kyle can have definitely some explosive starts, and almost took Gerry out in our feature match yesterday. Went to 3 games. I remember Gerry sitting at 5 life at one point in game 3. So close set of games there, and these guys, Kyle gets a chance to get his revenge.
Yep, it is a rematch right here. They played in round 5 yesterday, and you can go back and watch the round 5 coverage if you're watching this as a replay too. If you want to see that these guys battle again. And it looks like things not starting off well for Gerry team. Mulligan down to 5 cards while Kyle opts to keep his 7. It's not what Gerry was looking for in this matchup.
No, definitely not. That's a bad start for Gerry already. I mean,
yeah, it seems kind of obvious. Well, he's mulliganing to 5. Of course, that's a bad start. But like Gerry really needs key cards in this matchup, and you need to have a full hand for those cards to be good. Even if Gerry draws like a card like Doomblade now and has a removal-heavy hand, he'll just run out of gas while Kyle will still have creatures to be able to deal some diminishing returns on damage there.
Although I think that, one of the common misconceptions is that a mulligan to 5 is an auto loss. You know what I mean? I mean, you can see players mulligan to 4, 3, and come out of matches.
Yeah, I mean, I've mulliganed low and won plenty of games.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have, a couple friends who, as soon as they mulligan to 5, they pretty much, chalk it up as a loss. Right. And, that's...
I mean, if you have a good draw, a lot of decks are made so they can have good draws on 5 cards. Often, you keep a hand with 2 extra lands or something like that anyway, and your deck can just make up for it by drawing a couple lands.
The benefit is Gerry knows his deck very well.
Of course.
So, he knows what hand he can keep, and, well, there's a Goblin Guide, and...
Right. Revealing Inquisition of Kozilek for Gerry. Now, Goblin Guide is a good way to get back up on cards if you're running low, but you got to reveal some lands for that. Doesn't look like Gerry has a black sorcerer. I'm sure we would have seen that Inquisition cast.
Absolutely.
The rest of his hand seems to be Stoneforge Mystic and Squadron Hawk. Still 2 pretty good cards. That Squadron Hawk will go right and unmulligan Gerry when he casts it.
That's a pretty brutal first 2 turns there from Kyle. Goblin Guide into Teetering Peaks on Goblin Guide. No removal from Gerry, so...
No removal from Gerry, and no land revealing either.
No. So he does get his second land here, so at least he gets to get his Hawk in.
And here comes down the Hawk. The Hawks are all signed by people who have played Hawks to good success in the Open Series in the past. Alex Bertoncini signed a Hawk. AJ Soccer signed a Hawk. Drew Levin signed a Hawk. I don't remember who the last person who signed the Hawk was, but Gerry told us who they all were yesterday. Goblin Guide serves in again, right back into the red zone. Revealing yet another blue card, this time Preordain, which will hopefully for Gerry, dig him a little deeper, find some lands.
Absolutely. He takes it, so...
Looks like Kyle opted to not Teetering Peaks as Goblin Guide, figuring that Gerry
Draft Open players, your pod assignments have been posted on the Draft Open board by the doors where you came in. Please find your pod assignment. At your table, there is a slip of paper with your seat assignment on it.
Stoneforge Mystic comes down from Gerry,
on the table,
searching up the Sword of Feast and Famine.
Written on them. Please find your appropriate seat. Once again, Draft Open players, your pod assignments have been posted. Please find your seats for the draft. I remind you that there is no talking during this period of the event.
All right, so All right, so Gerry preordains back, leaving both of them. It means hopefully found some cards he liked.
Got his third land, which is important for him. Oh, it looks like there's the Goblin Chieftain. Or, yeah. Wait. Yeah, Chieftain. They got me confused now.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, Chieftain, War Chief. Sounds so familiar. They both give haste. They're from the same lineage. So Gerry's going to opt to double block the Chieftain.
And that'll take out both of his creatures. Or,
no, it definitely takes out both, right? The War Driver attacked.
Right. Wonder why. Weird.
Did Kyle... interesting. I mean, Kyle can choose to assign all the damage to the Stoneforge Mystic, so I mean, you can't call a judge and be... I mean, we're not going to call a judge and be like, there was a mistake made there.
Right. Right, he can choose however he wants to deal the damage.
But it's very strange that Kyle just let his Chieftain die.
Finally, Gerry gets his Black Source.
Or, sorry, that Kyle didn't kill off Gerry's Squadron Hawk, rather.
He's facing down, he can pick a Bolt, or actually he can pick any of those. He can pick the Ember Hauler too, but do the Inquisition. A very fast start for Kyle, although that could wind up being a bit of a, Kyle could regret not killing both of those creatures there.
Down comes Goblin Bushwhacker.
And Gerry's going to pick him up.
Still, yeah,
quick game one there.
That mistake by Kyle could have really cost him. I can't help feel like I missed something there, but I mean, it looked clear as day to me. Goblin Chieftain 2/2 +1/+0 from Battlecry.
Right.
Stoneforge Mystic 2 toughness. Squadron Hawk 1 toughness. I don't know what I missed. Maybe Gerry ran some kind of mind trick. I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe Kyle just forgot.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
It is very possible. So now you can win 1 year of StarCityGames.com Premium if you answer our question. And I think I have a question for this round too. The question would be, what key card was missing, or what key card in Call Blade was missing from, what's the guy's name? I can't even remember right now. Here, I got from Dustin Dragu's Call Blade list. The question was, which key card in most Call Blade decks as a 4 of was missing from Dustin Dragu's Call Blade list?
And it should be pretty glaringly obvious if you go and look at his deck list. So go take a gander over on the StarCityGames.com top 16 deck list of the tournament, and type it into Twitter with the hashtag SCG Premium, and you could win 1 year premium. See Gerry's tournament report, no doubt. See Gerry's update to the Call Blade deck for future standard tournaments. And along with Gerry Thompson, you get information from Brian Kibler, Patrick Chapin, Mike Flores, all kinds of great writers on premium right now. And you're going to want to be able to check these guys out. I mean, Mike Jacobs, Sam Black, so many good writers. And so much good information being given away. Plus, you have a lot of the top 8 competitors from these open series have been writing tournament reports. So you want to see potentially a Ryan O'Connor tournament report with its Naya Vengevine deck. If you want to potentially see a Kyle Kilhefner report with his Goblins deck, like, this is going to be a great boon for you to have. So definitely tweet us the answer. It's not too hard to figure out. So just go to Twitter, go hashtag SCG Premium, answer the question, what key card was missing from the semifinalists' Call Blade deck, and you could win a year premium. In the meantime, we talked to Gerry Thompson during the break, and I asked him how he's going to sideboard in this matchup and how things change now that he has full information. And he knows Kyle doesn't have access to Koth or anything similar like that. So he said he was just going to, I'll bring up his list so we can, okay, yeah, so he's going to bring in all the flash freezes. He felt like the late game, being able to counter his burn spells and stuff late game was very important. Obviously, he's bringing in Condemns and Doomblade. Into the World is not coming in. And he said he's going to make a clean swap, cutting all the Jaces. He has 5 Jace main decks, so 4 Mind Sculptors and 1 Jace Blair. He's going to take out all those. He's going to shave 1 Stoneforge Mystic and 1 Sword of Feast and Famine. And I don't think he was... Oh, and he's cutting the Tumble Magnets too. So cut 5 Jaces, 2 Tumble Magnets, a Stoneforge Mystic, and a Sword of Feast and Famine. That's 9 cards, which enables him to bring in 4 Flash Freeze, 3 Condemns, and a Doomblade. And he can either potentially bring in something else out of the sideboard if he wanted to, or leave one of those cards in, leave in one more Stoneforge Mystic, or leave in 1 Tumble Magnet potentially.
Important for our viewers at home, make sure you use the SCG Premium hashtag when you tweet your response, or you won't be eligible for the year of premium.
Right. Simply responding at us without SCG Live, while we appreciate it, we love the attention.
Or even using the SCGDFW hashtag alone.
Yeah, SCG Premium.
SCG Premium hashtag, please.
Yeah.
I'm still getting a couple without it.
Yep. You don't want to accidentally make it so you can't win. All right. So meantime, Kyle attacks with Goblin Guide. Gerry flips a Gideon and condemns that Goblin Guide away. And this is exactly what Gerry's looking for here. Now he's got 7 cards, and he's able to control Kyle's first threat, staying at 20 life coming into turn 2. And with the Squadron Hawks, I think Gerry's going to be staying at 20 life for a couple turns.
Yeah, at least.
Assuming no fetch line cracks, but he's definitely going to be staying up on life. So let's see. So down comes Ratchet Bomb. Interesting. So the players knew the other's deck lists. Yesterday when we saw this match, Kyle brought in Mark of Mutiny and Manic Vandal. We saw Mark of Mutiny obviously not so good against Gerry. Kyle probably thought he had access to a Baneslayer Angel, but now he knows he doesn't. And now that the players kind of get to play the mental war of what is the other person sideboarding in, Kyle brought in a Ratchet Bomb, clearly thinking it's going to be good in this matchup, thinking, okay, maybe I can kill off all the Squadron Hawks or something similar to that. So we'll see what happens. Gerry casts Preordain in the meantime, looking to find what he's looking for. This is the turn. Talking to AJ and Gerry Thompson, they both said people cast a Preordain is wrong in this deck. You should seldom cast it on turn 1. The right turn to cast is usually turn 3, when you know what's going on, you know if you need lands, if you need action, what you need to combat against. And this is, once again, where we saw it, turn 3. So when Preordain came down.
You put a counter on the Ratchet Bomb there.
Yep, and that Ratchet Bomb is going to do a pretty good job of blowing up some Squadron Hawks. And here comes Spike Shot Elder, which will also do a pretty good job of blowing up some Squadron Hawks potentially.
Absolutely.
And Kyle passes back to Gerry. Gerry draws a Gideon.
I mean, at this point, he can hold on that Ratchet Bomb, save it as a pretty efficient burn spell there. For the record, if any of you could hear that sneeze, sneezing into your hand is the wrong play. But especially when you're playing cards all day and shaking hands with your opponent after the match. So Gerry's going to Preordain here, and then he's going to swing in with 2 Hawks.
And Hawks will drop Kyle. But the 2 damage, not really threatening him at this point. All right, Doomblade from Gerry takes out Spike Shot Elder before Kyle can do anything with it. Ratchet Bomb ticks up again. Another Ratchet Bomb drawn by Kyle there, and he's forced to play Teetering Piece with no target. And he just main phase kills Squadron Hawks, make sure Gerry can't get into the Royal. That once again, that sideboard information.
Is that a what is that on Kyle's side of the board there? Is that another Ratchet Bomb, or is that?
He cracked that Ratchet Bomb and cast another. Gerry reloads with his other 2 Hawks, and no doubt that Ratchet Bomb is going to target those Hawks, and this could be pretty clever sideboarding by Kyle Kilhefner here.
Absolutely.
Figuring out that you can just maybe place a Ratchet Bomb away both the Squadron Hawks, and then Gerry will have no Hawks left. He'll just really have Stoneforge Mystic as his main source of the small creature beats, but he still will have Gideon at the top end, of course, which is probably the most threatening card against a deck like this. And here comes the man himself. It's just so good because it soaks up so much damage, and you have to put in a lot of effort to deal with it. And then Mono Red will just spend all their resources, and you can just follow up with another one or a Jace or even just a Sword of Feast and Famine connecting, and you can just pull right ahead in a matchup that seemed like maybe Red was taking the advantage. All right, so Kyle serves in, dropping Gideon by 2 counters.
This is a stagger shock in his hand. We can talk about their hands now. It's pretty loud in here at this point. There's a stagger shock in Kyle's hand. I was wondering if he had the mana to burn out the Gideon, but apparently not. So he's going to hold off here.
This looks like Gerry drew flash freeze here. Or I thought it was flash freeze. So Gerry decides he's going to take the aggressive stance here. Animate Gideon, attack you for 8. It's time for Kyle to crack that Ratchet Bomb. Alright, Stagger Shock from Kyle. And that flash just comes down for Gerry. And looks like Kyle just takes the damage.
He ate a lot of damage there, but I mean, not activating Gideon, to force the team to swing.
And Kyle
could leave Gerry open to a lot of damage, but I don't know if it's as much as Gerry can deal in return at this point.
Kyle decides to crack his Ratchet Bomb up another counter and serves in with Goblin Chieftain. Looks like he's starting out a hand of 3 Lightning Bolts, a Burst Lightning, and it wasn't 3 Lightning Bolts, 2 Burst Lightning. He's got a full house over there.
I wonder if he realizes that maybe he'll burn out Gideon in response to him activating it to make it a creature again, perhaps.
I mean, I think we can definitely see that play from Gerry here. With Kyle sitting at only 9 life. Yeah, activate. And Kyle cracks the bomb, killing the Hawks.
So he's going to save. Yeah, he's going to hold off.
And just drops the 3 life from that Gideon. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, now he's just 1 hit away from Gideon or that sorted up Stoneforge Mystic. Kyle's going to have to expend some of his burn here. Gideon is on 6 counters, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he has to expend some of his burn to deal with Gerry's wide range of threats here. Like, that Stoneforge Mystic has to die. Gideon has to die. The good news for Kyle is Gerry used up all the Squadron Hawks, so we don't have to worry about dealing with those guys anymore, whittling away at Kyle's life total.
Sword plus equip. Let's see what happens here. Burst Lightning in response to the equip.
Good call.
And then double bolt on the Gideon to end it. Uh-oh.
Did he just do that?
He really did.
Tags him for 2.
Yeah, I thought Gideon's a creature. Right, okay, Gerry's. Yep.
I think the question that they're being asked right now is, if you Lightning Bolt the player and redirect the damage to Gideon, are loyalty counters removed from Gideon Jura?
Wait, actually...
And
right.
It's all damage, and Gideon says all damage while his creature is reduced to 0, meaning that double.
That is a
this is not the first time.
Fatal mistake.
That is not the first time we have seen this happen. And the players are discussing what's going on.
That is brutal.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Pretty brutal.
So yeah, that is.
Should have waited till his turn.
Yeah,
Gerry was tapped out.
I was looking at Kyle and was like, "Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do that!" And he did it. And
he got excited. He rushed out.
Yeah. You cannot. Like I said, that's why we thought he was going to do it in response to the ability.
Right.
And now he just threw away 2 Lightning Bolts, and he's going to have to throw away
more
damage to deal with that Gideon. And
What a blowout.
So
that
what
is such a shame.
I think they backed up. Like what probably happened is they backed up to the end of turn step, and Kyle cast the 2 lightning bolts.
Well, I mean, it's still a legal target. There's no reason why the target should change.
Well, no, absolutely. Hello.
Hey.
So while the players are discussing this ruling, we'll talk a little bit. So the interesting thing is about how planeswalkers work is you redirect the damage from the player to the planeswalker. So if you target a player, the target of the player is still legal, but the way that he did it was kind of ambiguous. He just like flashed 2 bolts, put both in the graveyard, which obviously it's a shortcut, meaning I'm casting both these bolts, but if he does it normally and is like, bolt you, redirect to Gideon, that doesn't work, he would probably not choose the same thing for the second lightning bolt.
He would still have the second bolt.
Or at least it would be on the stack and he would deal 3 damage to his opponent.
Right.
So currently they're discussing the ruling back there, and we'll go back to the game as soon as it resolves. In the meantime, we saw Gerry lose the first game on a mulligan. Things looking pretty good for him here.
Okay.
Okay, so the result of the ruling was that they let Kyle take back both bolts on Gideon, and the damage just went to Gerry's face. He still was forced to cast the bolts,
right,
but he was not forced
obviously.
to redirect them. And we'll see if we can maybe get the head judge in here to talk to us a little bit about the ruling. Because I'm sure a lot of people out there are probably curious about the ruling and what prompted that decision. Because a lot of times I don't think those lightning bolts would be able to get taken back. That's clearly the head judge's ruling in this case, and it would be good to know, what prompted him to do that and what the players talked about. So we'll see if we can get the head judge. It looks like the head judge is currently the spotter, so after the match we'll get him in the booth and he'll tell us about the ruling.
Chump with the Goblin Chieftain on the Gideon, and now he bolts Gerry in the face and sees what he can do here. Yeah, he's going to pick him up here. Wow, that was a brutal mistake there by Kyle. Holding those bolts until the next turn, or even just casting them one at a time, would have allowed him to realize that Gideon's damage was prevented. So we're going to game 3. Not that there was any inevitability on Kyle's side of the board, but still.
Whoa.
Oh, look at this. Look at that shot right there.
I like this shot. I like what you're doing. Good work.
Showdown.
Why we had this view the whole time? This is
know,
awesome.
Right? This is sweet.
so the cool thing about So the cool thing is, every time I come to one of these open series, is Rashad got all this new software for this season of SCG Live. He's got this cool new screen he's doing things on, all this technical stuff. So like, every time I come here, stuff changes. Came here in Edison, I started getting shot by lasers on the screen. Like we had all these cool transitions. Now today we figured out how to do a split screen. Before we know it, we'll be putting Brian Kibler's face on like half the players, and it'll be awesome.
Well, certainly give a lot of our players better hair.
I mean,
Kid does have some fantastic.
Everybody
hair.
always wants to see Kibler, right? So we can just make all the players people don't recognize Brian Kibler. All right, well, you have local guy. No, he's Brian Kibler now versus Gerry Thompson.
I guess I shouldn't call Kibler Kid. He did just
at heart.
He did just turn 30.
Oh, I don't think you needed to tell everybody that.
Well, it's on his pro player card. That's how I found out.
Oh, fair.
I looked, I was like, oh. I actually was going to go up to him at Nationals, and he was doing, like, the gunslinging, and be like, Brian, can you sign this card for me? Oh, man, you're going to be 30 in a month? Whoa, I didn't even realize that. I thought that would be really funny. But just kind of troll him a little while he's trying to, work.
Well, there you go. If we had another final round, another top 8 round, the question would definitely be, what is Brian Kibler's age?
Yeah. I'm 1 year behind you, man. I'm just teasing. If you're watching, I don't mean no disrespect. Well, maybe a little, but no, I'm just kidding.
So going into Tense Game 3, this is it. Game 3 of the event.
Brian was actually just recently on our podcast, briefly, from Paris.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did an episode of YoMTG Taps with with Joey doing some recording from Paris. He got an interview with Chapin, an interview with Kibler. So it's pretty cool. And he does have amazing hair, for real. That is a great shot there.
Yeah, that is really awesome.
Well, now we know how to do that one. We're going to be doing that one a lot, I think.
Yeah, I expect to see that throughout the legacy coverage. I think we're going to have it where like both players. I don't know. Yeah, that would be kind of weird. But all right, so players took their opening hands. And Kyle's staring at, looks like a land. I thought I saw a chieftain and some Burns bells. All right, Gerry sends his back. Kyle's keeping his, so Gerry mulligans again. It's his third mulligan in the match for Gerry. Not what you want to see in the finals of a tournament.
Nope, not at all.
He really can't afford to lose on mulligans here. He's going to need all the cards he can find.
Glenn Jones in the background there, and under the constant glow of his laptop.
He does so much work. It's amazing how fast he can churn out all these deck techs and reports. He's just a one-man show. He does everything. Deck techs. He does round coverage, quick hits. It's crazy how much work Glenn does, and really admirable.
Yeah, he's constantly.
And you can go on StarCityGames.com right now and check it out. Like. You can see all the coverage he's written so far for yesterday, all the deck techs he did, all the quick hits he wrote up. A lot of really cool stuff there, a lot of good interesting questions. One of the big questions, we talked about this yesterday and caused a lot of debate, what the most influential card in Legacy was. And we'll talk about this more later. There's a huge discussion between a lot of heated debate between whether it was Force of Will, Wasteland, or Brainstorm. We'll talk about that in a little bit. In the meantime, we've got a final match to play out. Kyle leads on a mountain. Gerry just tar pits back. So Gerry keeps his 6, doesn't go down to 5 again. And Kyle has no turn 2 play. Which is probably what Gerry's looking for. He's like, well, that's a relief. Because the worst thing you want to do is when you mulligan down to 6 or whatever, then your opponent's like, Goblin Guide Ember Hauler, Goblin Guide Goblin War Driver, and you're already so far behind, or Goblin Guide even is just quite the beating. But Kyle doesn't have that draw. Instead, Gerry just drops Squadron Hawk, and of course in quotes. But
well, there's a Goblin Guide I think from Kyle. I don't know what he's going to play here. He's going to play the Chieftain and swing in for 2.
Yep, and so there's the Chieftain for Kyle, but on its own, I don't think it's going to do a lot. Gerry definitely kept a hand with removal spells. And once again, there's a turn 3 preordain. That's the turn you want to cast your preordains, according to Gerry Thompson and AJ Soccer. So if you can learn something from this weekend at all, and if you're playing Cobblade, just don't blow your preordains too early. Turn 3 is the turn you want to cast them.
Minimum.
Minimum, yep. I mean, unless you are searching for a 2-drop on turn 1, or a Landlight, obviously.
Sure.
So down comes Goblin Guide, which is a nice little 3/3 thanks to the Chieftain. Once again, the haste such a threat because although Kyle only had 1 creature entering this turn, all of his creatures are going to get in haste. Of course, if Gerry kills off that Chieftain, that's not going to be the case. But all right, Gerry lets the Guide resolve.
They both come in.
All right, and they both come in. I can't quite make it out with the. Okay, it's an Unhinged Swamp. So Gerry finally gets a card off of that Goblin Guide attack, and Doomblade on the Chieftain. Now Gerry wasn't forced to Doomblade the Chieftain before attackers, since Kyle didn't play any other creatures that didn't have haste. And Tectonic Edge from Kyle. That'll be pretty good. Able to knock down off of one of Gerry's lands, but Kyle needs a little more pressure. Looks like he's gripping Lightning Bolt, Burst Lightning, a Mountain, and Teetering Peaks right now. Gerry with Squadron Hawk Plains, the ubiquitous Gideon Jura, Swamp. I can't quite make out the rest of his cards.
People are just now, there's a bit of a delay. People are just now writing things about the bolts on Gideon. So just so you know.
Yeah. After this match, we'll get the head judge in to talk to everybody about the Gideon lightning bolt situation.
Kyle seems a little bit flooded here.
Yeah, this is, like I said, what you really want on Kyle's end is he really needed to see, like, you know, turn 1 Goblin Guide, turn 2 Threat, and instead all we had was turn 3 Goblin Chieftain, and it hasn't helped that he's flooded out on mana too.
Right. Arc Trail wouldn't be terrible right now.
Sure. Arc Trail is reasonable. Plus, I mean, he does have that Tectonic Edge, which is a nice land to have, and that'll keep Gerry off of his mana, but...
Keep him off of Gideon for at least another turn.
But still, I mean, you have to have action to back it up with. Buying the tempo isn't going to be that great if you can't back it up with anything. And yeah, Kyle's in the tank, figuring out, well, maybe this was a bad keep. Maybe there were some mistakes made. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I just flooded out a little bit. What is the right play here? Do I just serve Guide into his Hawks? Gerry flips over a Swamp off that Guide, and
Jerry's getting good value off of the...
perfectly willing to trade some Hawks. Yeah, finally getting good value off of Goblin Guide. All right.
So Kyle kills off 2 of the Hawks.
Yep, and 1 Hawk stands.
Personally, I would proactively knock out that Creeping Tar Pit right now.
Yeah,
That's just me.
I think you just want to keep Gerry off his mana, and I think you can afford to sack your land.
I think you want to keep him off of 5 so he's not on Gideon. Because Gideon is so brutal against this deck, and especially after what happened last game.
I mean, I respect...
Why did he just play a Teetering Peaks for nothing?
I mean, I respect... Well, I think what's going to happen is Kyle's going to Tectonic Edge here, and he wants to have 5 mana for Burst Lightning available. And Teetering Peaks comes in taps.
But he could have played the Teetering Peaks on the Goblin Guide that he had just swung with.
Sure, but I mean, I'm sure he figured Gerry was definitely going to block that. And he kind of wanted to see what Gerry was going to do before he blew the Teetering Peaks.
I mean, Gerry was tapped out. Oh, yeah, I guess it's a good point. And he could have just chumped at that point.
Right.
So
or just still blocked with... Yeah. Still blocked with 2 Hawks or whatever. I mean, I can definitely see the argument for playing Teetering Peaks first, but I can understand why Kyle waited also.
Probably took out more creatures by not playing it, to be honest.
Right. I think he just gives away some information out of his hand too, like what he's been holding on to if he plays that land first.
Right. Yeah, people seem to be questioning the fact that he was allowed to take back his mistake.
And we'll get the judge in the booth.
Right, we will
after this match. So. Yeah, Kyle has no creature action. He's got some burn spells, but it's not exactly what he's looking for. And now Gerry's trying to figure out... I think what Gerry's probably doing is trying to deduce what's in Kyle's hand. I mean, Kyle's obviously has a ton of lands. Where did that Teetering Peaks go? Did Kyle already play a land for that turn? Did he play... I know he had a mountain in his hand. Did he play that mountain before he activated Tectonic Edge? Is that why he didn't play Teetering Peaks first?
Huh.
Okay, yeah, so he played an extra land last turn, and so he was forced to take back that Teetering Peaks. They're talking with the head judge right now, I'm sure, about what's going on. And hey, everybody back in the booth. And another ruling here in the finals. What happened is there was a... I thought I saw it, but I was like, oh, that must have been last turn, so I didn't say anything.
Right.
But Kyle Kilhefner played a mountain. Like, a bunch of stuff happened. Like, he attacked, went in the tank, and finally played another Teetering Peaks. But that was his second land for the turn. Not okay. Okay, here we are back to the match. And so he was forced... Looks like...
He still has the Teetering Peaks
so it looks like he has the
so.
Teetering Peaks out now.
Okay, so apparently that did not happen. Again, we'll have a judge in here at the end of this match to figure out.
The judge has ruled that the team priest gets to stay and play, and that it's a warning for a game rule violation, failure to maintain game state. So not upgraded into anything, and he gets to keep his land.
So we got double burst lightning there in Kyle's hand, is that right?
That's right. And there's Gideon.
There you go. There's a burst lightning on Gideon. I almost feel like he should have activated the zero ability right there, which is never correct to do.
Just to see if Kyle would burn it. All right, so.
But he is going to burn out Gideon here, I think, with the second burst.
I mean, I think he has to.
Yeah, absolutely. Gideon is so brutal against him.
I mean, there's no way you can let that Gideon
Players,
sit,
we've got
right?
just over 15 minutes remaining in registration for today's Legacy Open. Come on up and see me at the main event desk.
Nice draw off the top of his deck. The rest of this game, it looks like.
And there's burst lightning. Oh, he just goes for the face.
Huh.
I mean, so I actually kind of like that play. It reminds me of Char Yu untapped draw lightning helix. He was like, all right, well, I'm not going to win this game by killing Gideon. I have to apply pressure.
He lets him keep with the Jace.
And so now he has to draw double bolts. Of course, I think that's probably the one Jace Gerry Thompson left in his deck. He said he was going to cut all of them. He must have ended up keeping one in and taking out the second tumble magnet. And he drew it, and that's going to keep Kyle off of the action that he was looking for so desperately.
Yeah.
And now in comes this turn Gideon plus Hawks for 8. Gideon plus Hawks for 8 next turn. And Kyle is looking in pretty rough shape.
Somebody chimed in that Island is the most influential legacy card. Might not be wrong either.
Gideon out over Pluto Delta. I don't think Island. I'm about the tundras and the everything else.
Well, those are also islands.
All right, there's Goblin Chieftain, but not going to be so strong.
It's not going to do that much.
So Gerry just let him keep the Chieftain too.
Clearly, he's not too afraid of it if he let it sit on top of the deck.
All right. Yeah, I mean, well, there's a difference between being afraid of something and not wanting to die, right? Like, maybe the Goblin Chieftain is like, well, it's not the best thing he could ever do for me, but at the same time, like, it's better than putting it on the bottom and having him draw a burn spell, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to accidentally die.
Yeah, it's true.
So, I mean, now I think we'll probably see Gideon serve in, dropping Kyle to 5. Of course, I'm sure Gerry's got to be playing a little scared here. Like, he's probably going to Fate Seal Kyle. Yeah, so he Fate Seals Kyle first to see what he's got coming up. And then the big question for him is, what is in Kyle's hand? If Gerry can safely leave a card on top, then he doesn't really have to worry that much, because Kyle can't double burn him out.
Right.
But right now, he could be thinking Kyle's last card is a Burst Lightning or something, and he cannot afford to leave a burn spell around. It's a Spike Shot Elder. He just shows Kyle. Shows him what he's thinking about. And I think he probably showed him to try and extract some kind of information. I mean, he is looking at the card. He's allowed to reveal it. There's nothing wrong with saying, what you're seeing, showing what you're seeing, obviously.
Right.
So he's deciding what it's going to be, and when he decides to just leave it, Kyle doesn't have enough mana to both kick Burst Lightning, even if he did have some theoretical Burst Lightning, and play the Spike Shot Elder, and activate the Spike Shot Elder. So Gideon comes in, drops Kyle down to 5. Kyle shows him the last mountain, plays Spike Shot Elder. And now, Gerry shows you can just bounce it, and that's game. Gerry takes it down.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Gerry Thompson.
There we go.
Came into the tournament with a new take on Cobblade. As AJ said so succinctly, like, I wasn't crazy enough to run it. Gerry just didn't have enough time to convince you that it was good. But Gerry knew it was good. He played it. Came in with 2 buys from all of his points, really important, but played his new version of Cobblade, Tumble Magnets, no Day of Judgment, switched things up a little bit after his top 8 last week, and here we are, victory for Gerry Thompson. Congratulations. We'll see if we can